This war, I believe, will never end because it is a war of not communism or a war of for weapons or a war for anything. This is a war of faith.
Chaldeans are the ethnic group from Iraq that are Aramaic speaking, which is the language of Christ, and are the Christian minority of the Iraqi region.
We're not known to the Muslims as Chaldean necessarily, but as Christians.
As Christians, although never stated, we were always sort of as a second-class citizen.
Our bishop opened the first Chaldean seminary outside of Iraq in San Diego about 6 years ago.
We got a huge number of refugees that have been coming in for the past, couple years now.
These kids had seen death. They had seen death of their own family members. They had seen death of their neighbors. They had seen death of their cousins. They had seen deaths of their own mothers or fathers.
There's no future for us in Iraq. We have lived in this land. We've inhabited this land for thousands of years, for millennia. And now finally, the Islamic State has taken over, basically, and are going to take over. It's very scary that this group is not just a Middle East thing anymore. It's a Muslim thing.
I've had cousins in Iraq kidnapped for high ransom prices, about $50,000, and they were kidnapped and tortured and finally let go after months.
That's the biggest fear now, is that they would just annihilate all of our people, which is a real risk and a big danger that I think America and the countries in the West really need to take urgently.
It's something that's real. It's not something that you read in a story or watch on a movie or play in a video game. It's something that actually is happening now, and it's not a joke.
There is a genocide. There is a war against Christianity.
Another name for the Chaldean Church is the Church of the Martyrs. Throughout all of our time in the church, we have been persecuted.
They're persecuting us, and they're taking our land, and they're doing a good job of doing that, and killing us because we're infidels to them.
Since the Persians, the Mongolians, the Muslims back in the day, and the Muslims now, we have been persecuted, and our church is still thriving.
I must be saying something, or I must be preaching or living a certain way of truth that I am being persecuted. So it was always something that pushed us even further to our faith, to study our faith, to learn more about our faith.
We need to keep that faith, and we need to keep praying and fighting this spiritual battle, ultimately by us doing the will of God by ourselves, and for us praying for the future of the church so that people can be safe.
I do absolutely believe that the challenges that the Middle Eastern Christians are facing will come to the West and specifically to America.
Something like this is something that's growing and growing rapidly.
We really need to get the word out there. I think people are blind to the fact that Christians are being persecuted in Iraq and in the whole Middle East. To the Christians of the West, I would say, wake up. We're living back into the times of the early church where the Romans are feeding our people to the lions. I think ISIS needs to be wiped out. Something needs to be done. The West needs to put up a fight, basically. Yeah, the West needs to put up a fight.
قديشة لها قديشة حلثانة قديشة لا ما يوثى إثراح أم علين.